Let me say a good Monday morning to one and all listening to Classic Radio GBN TV. It's Monday the 23rd day of September. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point. Those of you who are viewing us via the various channels, good morning once again. Those of you via social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube channels, good morning. GBN's webpage, good morning to you also. Nice to have you with us this morning. I'm your host GT, and let me say good morning to Mr. Sylvan McIntyre. Being with us this morning once again. Nice to have you back on the program this morning, sir. Good morning, good morning.
Hey, GT, good morning to you, man. It's good to be here.
Yep.
I want to shout out pleasant morning to our viewers, our listeners, our followers, well-wishers. Yeah, and it's been good.
Yeah, how's the weekend?
Oh, the weekend and a couple of days into the weekend, that was really good. It was a mixture of different things. As usual, I would get some time to try and traverse and do different things across the country.
All right.
So, yeah, the week. There are a few things that happened, right?
Yeah.
A few things that happened.
I want to start off by extending, commendation to the authorities.
Yeah.
I passed under the tunnel. Was it Saturday night or was it Saturday or Sunday night? One of those nights. And I've noticed the tunnel has been
properly lit, right?
Properly lit now.
Yeah.
I want to commend him for that. It's been a little bit off for a couple of months, and happy for that.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
So I think all being said, that the information that we're putting out there and the things that we, the eyes on the issues that people are following in small bits. Last week, I actually attended one of the police passing out parade of recruits. So I want to say congrats to the RGPF and those new, I think 47 of them from Coast 47.
Okay.
So they'll be joining the ranks of the RGPF officially for 2 years under probation. Right. And I met a bunch of retirees, police officers, and there was an entire police force. I mean, retired commissioner of police, retired deputy superintendents, and it was really, really a good thing. And most important, though, they said to me that we follow your program.
Well, that's good.
They said that they follow our program, and actually they give me different tips and so on. So all of you, Mr. Reno and Mr. Dragon and the others and so forth, Mr. Charles.
All right.
All these guys, hats off to you and Commissioner of Police for, leading the process through. And in addition to that, though, some of the issues raised, I think, Sylvan Chan, good morning to you.
Yeah.
Eyes on the issue in terms of disaster risk reduction, the carnage.
All right.
Because, again, of climate change and sea level rise, the sea was encroaching onto the traffic road on the carnage over the weekend. So a word to motorists is that there are two things. One, the water could create some negative impact on vehicles.
Yeah.
And so once you
from parking, of course, from parking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Parking is one, and if you drive through the salt water, you have to get your vehicle flushed as quickly as possible because it's going to cause some corrosion
to
down
build
the
up
street.
on you. Yeah.
And then it limits visibility and vigilance on the road. So when these things happen, we need to have notices out, and we need to really be on the ball to advise people as to you can choose alternate route or you can come through with caution. That's one of it. There's quite a bit for us to talk to today.
Yeah. I mean, also noticing a lot, Sylvan, the continuing noticing of accidents on the nation's roads, man. It's becoming a little bit unbecoming. Is there a weekend you could pass on a road in Grenada and not notice those white marks, fresh ones, if you could say? Constant videos been posted, with individual with the accidents and so forth. And most of them, if you notice, negligence plays a big part in it.
Of course.
Negligence plays a huge part in some of the accidents that we're noticing happening. Some of them I'm noticing head-on collision. And sometimes you wonder how that really occurred. Is it individuals just not paying attention as they drive along on the nation's road? When you've seen those head-on collisions?
Well, yeah, we keep examining what could be the root cause. And as you mentioned, the most common cause is that of negligence, people distracted on our roads. And so we continue to insist from the AmSafer that the penal system, the justice system must be so rigid. I think it will keep people to be more conscious of what they should be doing and to be more careful on the roads. And the gadgets and the other things, the children in the vehicle, the amount of goods and other things carried inside the vehicle that create some level of distraction that are unstable. These are something that we're finding, and that people should be paying more attention to. What we would wish that with more officers on our streets. One of my colleagues I was speaking to a couple of days ago, and we mentioned the police presence, not just in our cities, but across the country is critical. If we would have more police officers maybe on motorcycles, or sometimes if you want to be a little bit more clandestine, maybe unmarked vehicles and be in areas where people are not always aware that you're going to be there and do spot checks,
yes.
I think people will become more conscious of that. So we need to be able to see more vigilance and, enforcers taking more steps and being more proactive in ensuring that the little things that are happening because of carelessness. We had a situation of the increase in shooting, and I think there was a shooting sometime recently as well, or one or two.
A couple of days ago, yeah.
The police stepped up the game immediately. They were on the ball, their presence was there. And it is seeming again that is style because we seem to have it under control. But what we want to see is that enforcing laws and principles, we have to be a bit more proactive. And not a law enforcement thing only, but all responsible persons, leaders, we must be on the game, on the ball, speak about the issues like we are doing before they actually happen. So I think being ahead of it, people know that they are going to be punished if caught, I think will be a deterrent. And we need to see a bit more of that. We can't say this too much, that enforcement is critical to ensure that we have adherence to the laws.
All right. Something I noticed also over the weekend, I was having a conversation with some of the issues that we see happening in roads, the obstruction and stuff. And I think it's something that developed in our mindset as Grenadians. Some things have become a norm.
Yeah.
You understand?
Right.
The way folks will just stop and obstruct traffic. Some people go ahead of these things as if they were doing it 30 years ago.
Right.
And it never been an issue. But now you have to realize the demographic have changed. The amount of vehicles on the road and stuff. So, you just can't stop anyway and have a conversation with anybody as you used to before. You can't just pull up and say, well, I'm going to go across and talk to a friend. Most times when you do that, you see the obstruction that you cause.
Yes.
The backup in traffic and stuff. So I just say some of these things has become such a norm for a lot of individuals. I always been doing that.
Yeah.
But now you have to change your whole mindset. And I still think it's taking a lot of people a lot of time to get themselves adjusted.
Yeah.
For some reason or the other. There's something you've always been doing. And for some reason you're not changing your mindset, but I can't do that anymore.
Right.
What's your
So I think people will say McIntyre and GT again. We will speak about it because we are seeing it. The more you speak about something, if you keep beat it on a spot, it's going to soften and give in some time. So if we keep, the information, I recall a couple programs ago we spoke about encroaching building material, construction material on our road space. Yes. And as I drive around the country, it is minimized to a large extent. Yes. People are, I think, become more conscious that you need to keep the road space clear, or whether it is the law enforcement that are doing what they're supposed to do and ensuring it's happening. But we spoke about it a couple of times and we've seen it has decreased.
It has decreased, but it still continues.
The cultural thing.
The culture part of it.
Where we figure we can just stop anywhere and have an exchange. We can pull up and bounce, and two bus drivers will be driving alongside each other, and they would stop in traffic, and they'll be exchanging, like, you need some dollars, you need some fives, and so on.
And sometimes it takes a couple of minutes before that process takes place. And
yes.
As another road user, you have to wait on them.
And the other thing I recognize, though, is that we have become so intolerant of each other, impatient, and maybe because of the use of the substances that sometimes a lot of people induce, whether it's alcohol or other, psychotropic substances or otherwise, marijuana or other forms of substance that they use. But people don't have patience. You would stop, or you may give a drive in a way that maybe inadvertently you open your corner a little bit too wide. Yeah. And somebody would yell some obscene at you.
Yeah.
Or you may stop a little bit. Yeah. Like I was driving sometime. And I was going, it's a bit laughable, right? Yeah. Because I was coming through, I think, the Woburn area. And did I say this on the program? Maybe I did not. But I was coming through. This guy was coming in the opposite direction. So there was obstruction on my side. So I drove away from the obstruction and headed into and to swing back out onto the driveway. And the guy was coming towards me. And maybe he found that I was going in that direction too slow. Mm-hmm. So he came out, he pulled up alongside me and he said, you fell on your head, they dropped you on your head when you was a baby? And I was like, did he actually say that?
So, no, I was actually told that once, where you learn to drive.
Yeah.
Where you learn to drive.
It's like, Really and truly, you want to be that discourteous to people on the street. You don't really do that. So, and you see, one chunk leads to the other.
Yeah.
You yell insult at me, or I become angry, and I do the same thing.
And then a major obstruction could occur there, though, because it's going to lead to a back and forth.
Yeah.
You're going to lead to a
and I decided to hold in my ground and not moving, and you decide to hold in the same thing. But you know, grievous words will stop anger, and kind words, do turn away wrath, etc. So sometimes when people yell at you, the better thing to do is to really keep calm, slow it down, watch them, and say thank you sometimes.
And I mentioned last week, I have gotten to the stage where sometimes I just smile at it.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
I just smile at it because
I do a lot of that.
I just let it go, let it pass.
And so, again, well, we almost due for
our first break. When we come back, we have a lot good information to throw out this morning, which was going to be a follow-up from last week.
Right.
We have some of the information to throw out, of course, which will lead to us showing the public some videos and so forth.
Absolutely. And I'm excited about that part of the program.
Stay with us, folks. To the point here, Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back after a break. Don't touch it dial.
GBN is your home for this year's Republic Bank CPL. Please note there will be adjustments to our programming lineup on Wednesday, September 25th. Transitions will air at 5:05 p.m., followed by GBN television news at 6 p.m. And don't miss the news repeat right after the CPL match. Transitions will also be rebroadcast after the news repeat, so you won't miss a thing. GBN, your trusted source for sports coverage anywhere and everywhere.
We'll give the best we've got. Hands up, right up.
The Grenada Motor Club will be hosting its second and final international drag racing event for 2024 at Pearls International Speedway on September 28th and 29th. Expect the fastest set of drag cars and bikes the Caribbean has to offer. September 27th, meet and greet at Lavo Lanes. September 28th, test and tune bracket race qualifiers. And after drags, chill out at Sizzle Bar and Lounge. September 29th, drag race finals at Pearls International Speedway. There will be a special guest appearance by one of the Caribbean's top drag racers and a special drift performance by one of the Caribbean's top drifter. Mark the dates, September 28th and 29th at Pearls International Speedway is the place to be. You don't want to miss this one.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. To the point here, Classic Radio GBN TV. Myself and Mr. McIntyre back with you once again. And our usual conversation that we do here on a Monday. Try to help road users have a better way of using our nation's roads.
Safety.
You understand? Safety is a critical point of our conversation always. And and listeners and viewers who have been listening to this program, a lot have improved on their of course, the way they use our roads. I have spoken to individuals who have said, but certain things you all have said, I have never put it into thought before. And know that I am becoming maybe a better driver and stuff like that. I have had conversations with individuals of that nature. So we got to say thank you for that. We want to follow up on last week. Last week we had some videos that we were showing, the bus sheds and so forth that we showed some concerns about.
Right.
And I'm not going to take all the joy of it. I'm going to let you speak about it a wee bit, but I hope Master Control could put those videos up and we could probably just narrate about it as it goes on this morning. So Master Control, you probably could start showing them up. But it's happy to see that when we speak about something, it get done.
And this one is in quick time. Mm-hmm. Within a 7-day period, 8-day period, there's some action in that direction. So we spoke last week about a tree that was sitting on a bus shed somewhere in St. Andrew since Barrow. Yeah. And Barrow is over 2 months. And I was very pleased that just 1 week later, I caught the guy in action. There was a chainsaw. We're going to do a master control. We showed that a little bit. And that was actually corrected. So I want to really commend the authority or national authority or otherwise, whoever is responsible, that's the kind of a response and reaction that we require.
And then we see those that video is someday running now. So I'm certainly happy to see that. But I never noticed in the video, in our previous photo, I guess it was more for still last week.
Yeah.
I never noticed that there was damages actually to the bus stop.
Oh, yeah. Maybe the angle. We did have a video as well, but maybe the angle we took it. So we did this one from either side to show that it was damaged, but that heavy tree was sitting on top of that building there for quite a while. And yesterday, it was being removed. So congrats. I think now they're going to do the people who removed it, I did speak to them.
Yeah.
They're not the one responsible for repairing it. They're just going to remove this, and then another team of persons will repair that.
But did any information was thrown out to you in terms of how the process got started?
I didn't inquire.
You didn't inquire.
All I was is just being happy that it was done. So whether it was our action or it was planned before to be done, I'm just happy on behalf of everybody else who used that place that it was done. And there's another one that I put up. I think that's a popular vegetable stand. It needs a haircut.
Yeah, I'm seeing that though.
And the safety of that and the impact, the weight that is on it, and people underneath there buying stuff or otherwise, the aesthetic of the area and everything else, you can see that the area was a little bit debushed as well.
Yeah.
But look at that structure.
But it seemed like they cut the bushes to the sides and just decided not to cut the bushes on the
and whoever is responsible.
Structure itself.
You're building stuff on top of that as well. It adds to the weight. And it can crumble and come down. Maybe it can hurt somebody, even the person who is selling. So these are some small things that really need to be mindful of. Yeah. And in the very same area, we spoke about roundabout and using the tires and other things. And not too far from that very stand, there's a pole in the middle of the road that has been there for almost forever.
Yeah.
And as you go around the pole, there's a valley that leads down into, I think, the Mount Parnassus area, right at the bottom where that black vehicle is. As you can see, there's a valley right there. And that pole forever has been in the middle of the road. Is there something that could be really done about that? I think we could do better than that.
Has anyone that I told you ever paid attention to that? We understand the purpose of the pole.
Yeah.
All right? I mean, I guess it
was put there for electricity and other utilities.
And so forth. But in the process of building the road, wasn't any thought or consideration, but this may have to be removed?
I think when the pole was there, probably it was on the side of the road, maybe.
Yeah. So the road was actually widened for some reason, yes.
I think they did some enhancements of the road. And similar in Tempe by the Coke factory area as well.
Yeah.
That has become a roundabout, whether it is official or unofficial. I think they put a little tire there. But we think that those areas could be enhanced properly, put signs on them to make proper roundabouts. And there is another 2 recommendations that we have along. We're going to speak about some other things as well. Bridges as a concern of safety. But as we moved through, we saw that the cliff area has had some enhancement. There's a diversion of traffic, and then the Woburn area has been also utilized. So the recommendation that we made and the observation earlier on, that the authority could consider using even the big tires to make a temporary roundabout in the cliff area so that people know that you need to give way to traffic. I remember one time we spoke about it and a caller called in to say there was a major road and a minor road. But no, you can't tell which is major or minor. Yeah. So we think that the better thing to do is to put a temporary roundabout in that area, maybe a same big tire, and people understand clearly who has the right of way. Similar, on the bottom end, coming from the Woodlands, Clarkscourt Bay area, going towards Woburn. Sometimes people just
You get a bit confused.
You get confused as to
who should give the right away, who you should give the right away to.
And it impacts on road safety as well. Sometimes it agitates people and then they go on the vex or otherwise. So we think that there should be some enhancement of that area, probably by putting, again, a tire and making a temporary roundabout, because we think that road construction is going on for a while. The inconvenience of people coming, using the Eastern Main Road have to come through that area. The traffic is quite heavy in that area, so we think if we do that, we could create some ease. 2 other points. As you move from the Woodlands area going towards the valley, major and minor road, if you go straight, if you come from the wireman's house, you can drive straight into Clarkscourt Bay.
Yes.
And we've seen accidents happen in that corner. And I believe sometimes, if you don't know which is the major or the minor road, you tend to want to drive straight into Clarkscourt Bay rather than trying to go to the valley. Yeah. So we think on that bend, there could be a mirror or mirrors on the opposite side for the vehicles coming from the Clarkscourt Bay area, and there should be a major road sign You could on the road with the arrow showing major road. So somebody coming from the Woodlands area going towards the Grandlands Valley, you would know that you're not going straight into Clarksville Bay, but there's a arrow that shows you're going towards Grandland. This is the major road. The other one is the Monkuma Road. Monkuma Road has been enhanced for a while, and it seems as though it's a nice 2-lane big road. So I've seen it a few times. People coming from down
Constantine area, or coming from
Snow Corner area. They put it on the indicator going to Granite Town. But that's the major road.
So you don't need to indicate.
You don't need to indicate. And somebody told me that has happened more than one time. They've seen it happen to other people. And the reason being, that road, because of the wideness of the area and the markings that seems to be nice and very modern, people would tend to believe that that's the major road that goes into that left side. Okay. So they put on the right indicator that they go in that. So we think as well in that area, there could be another sign that shows major road with an arrow going towards Grandita to enhance that area. I think if the authority look at that, we can have.
Mr. Great thing, but anybody in authority ever give that some thought, put some attention into that in terms of the proper signage?
It is one of the focus that we have at the AMSAFE, the Asher McIntyre Road Safety Foundation. One of the things we want to do, we do not have direct access to the transport board.
Yes.
But one of the things that we want to do is to assign somebody who would take note of what callers calling the points and something that we identify and put in, and we're going to submit it officially so that they can have a look at it, because we don't sit on any board and we're not in any advisory capacity. Yeah. So I think that the points that callers make corporate Grenada and what we observe ourselves to make better sense, because people say we don't hit the right audience. A lot of retirees and other people who are just at home, and otherwise we will be getting a different kind of audience. We have bus drivers and people listening to us now. But they're saying that we're not hitting the right audience. So we think that we can have more effect if we document the points that come from callers and what we see, and we would send it into them so they can review it and give us a feedback. I think that would be most effective. But I can tell you that the information that we're giving, they're actually having some traction, because Sakit and Palilot. Yeah. You know, one man tell the other, and so forth. And they would pass it on, and somebody would get the information and so forth. But I thought that we needed to make those observations. The enhancement, putting a sign that shows, and across country, you have difficulty identifying which is the major and the minor road. And sometimes you don't know when you're on the main road, not because our roads are small. They're small, yes, in comparison to other places across the world, but the universal signs of where a major and a minor road is. And even if you don't have a sign for a minor road, but you have names for these roads and streets, but at least the markings that shows major road with the blue and white arrow, it is always very critical to do that. And across country,
really helpful for drivers especially, and other road users especially. Someone would know, well, I'm cutting off to a minor road and when I'm on the main road.
And you know when you get to the main.
Visitors come to the island, sometimes they get confused, not being always in bigger roads where the signage is
because the major and the minor road are sometimes the same size.
Exactly.
So you need to know when you're on the major road.
Exactly.
Of course.
I certainly agree with that. We drew for a break again, Mr. Mac. We're going to take it. When we come back, we want to talk up some about the bridges concerns.
Safety concerns
and related to bridges and so forth when we do come back. Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch your dial. We coming right back.
It's the event you won't want to miss. GIDC Business Deals Day is happening on Saturday, October 12th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Frequenty Industrial Park playing field. Explore the latest products and service offerings from businesses within the industrial parks. Enjoy discounts on GIDC business support services and get fantastic deals on household items, building materials, accessories, condiments, and more, with exciting prizes up for grabs throughout the day. But that's not all. Dive into a mini health fair and career expo for valuable health education and employment opportunities, all while enjoying the songs of Trio the Band and DJ Graphic Sounds. It will be a fun-filled day filled with eats, drinks, games, deals, and more. Mark your calendars and join the GIDC at Frequenty Industrial Park playing field on Saturday, October 12th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. See you there.
GBN is your home for this year's Republic Bank CPL. Please note there will be adjustments to a programming lineup on Wednesday, September 25th. Transitions will air at 5:05 p.m., followed by GBN television news at 6 p.m. And don't miss the news repeat right after the CPL match. Transitions will also be rebroadcast after the news repeat, so you won't miss a thing. GBN, your trusted source for sports coverage anywhere and everywhere.
We'll give the best we've got. Hands up, right up.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. Welcome back. Of course, we Mr. Mac, you know, you one that always drive around and observe a lot of things in terms of the safety for our nations.
Yes.
You understand? And we could bring it here on the program. The authorities look at the program and sometimes get help in terms of remedying certain situations.
Yes.
Now, over the weekend, you made a video of a bridge and the conditions that you
Bridges,
saw. Bridges, I should say. And you saw the conditions that they are. And it kind of concerns you. Once you are able to make a video of it and show it, there's some concerns about it.
Absolutely.
So Master Controller is going to bring it up shortly.
Yes.
Talk about the observation a wee bit for me.
Right. So I don't really want to lose it though, but a couple of years ago, in the St. Andrew area, and I spoke to the person who actually was involved in the accident. There are some bridges that have been erected, and they are temporary bridges. They are actually temporary bridges, and one of them, a couple of them, I was involved in them after Hurricane Ivan, I think it was, to set them up.
Yeah.
They are wooden bridges with metal support system.
Yeah.
But they are intended to be for emergency use only. So if you have a situation where there is, you have a land slippage or you have coastal erosion or otherwise, and you need to give access really quickly, there are people who are trained like the SSC and other guys within some of the artisans groups. They are trained to do that. And I happen to have been one of those. So after Hurricane Ivan, I think we went up because that bridge towards the Monlong was broken. A temporary bridge that lasted for about 13 years. It broke. Temporary. We replaced it with another temporary bridge, and 20 years on, it is still temporary. There was an accident on that temporary bridge with, I think it was,
now we do have that video observed.
That area, correct. And you can see it is deteriorating there. What happened there is a risk to road users. The gentleman who got injured on one of these bridges he was riding a motorcycle. Now, surfaces are more vulnerable to motorcycle like wood and so on than other wood because you got less balance. Yeah. So he was riding this motorcycle on this wooden bridge that was deteriorated, had the integrity was affected by the weathering, etc., and age. And as he was riding through, he slipped the wheel skate on that wooden thing. He fell off, and luckily, he almost lost his life. Yeah. I spoke to him this morning, and he reminded me of this. The bridge itself was not damaged, but the weathering and so on deteriorated the integrity of the surface. And that can happen to wooden surface. So the point I'm making, there are a few of these bridges, at least 3 of them. There's one in the Chantilly area going towards Belvedere. Yeah. There's one towards the Paul's Airstrip. And there's one in the Monlong area. And somebody also called in and spoke of a bridge towards going to the River Antoine area last week on the program. They've asked me to mention that there's some concern about one of those bridges in that area that impact on the safety of road users that the authority should look into. The point that we are making is that temporary things should be what they should be. And temporary should not become permanent.
Yes.
By all means, let us increase our capacity to respond and give access in emergency situation. So those bridges that were erected years ago, bolted down, the authority then, and those are lovely areas. If you look at the view with the river and everything, the bridges look nice. But they are temporary bridges. And they would deteriorate. We would not have the use of them in the future because they stayed up too long, so they also, the integrity is compromised.
Their lifespan.
So the point is, we have to be more conscious of the safety of people. We need to inspect our bridges more frequently. And when we have things that are intended for emergency or short-term use, we must use them for exactly that. Don't tell me that we don't have project funding for it or otherwise. We cannot sacrifice the safety and lives of people because we failed to do what we're supposed to do and said that there is no funding or money at this time. We have to be able to, one, corporate Grenada have to become responsible, our sense of community must kick in, and our sense of awareness and vigilance must identify the issues and speak about them so that they could be corrected. And my angle is that of the safety of people who would use these structures that are intended to have been for temporary use.
All right.
And again, the wooden surface carries more risk. It is much more vulnerable to road users than you'd have a proper bridge that is built for the purpose. So here what? The one I spoke about in Monlong, some of the timber itself, they're lifting. Some have already broken. And who knows, if you do a proper examination of them, you probably will realize that it has deteriorated further. And that could impact on the safety and the lives of people. And please, let us give it some attention. Let us address it before something happens. The gentleman a couple years ago who slid on that and almost lost his life, it could have been a life loss. That gentleman is a very prominent young man today. He's holding a prominent position. He's living with some scar from this. Yeah. And God has saved his life because, again, it was a temporary bridge, not that it was a visible deterioration, but because of what it was, it helped in causing him to slid off and causing the injury which he got. All right.
We were having an off-air conversation a while ago about, of course, a new road development that you saw taking place in the south of the island.
Yes.
Yes. We can talk about that.
Again, we want to be ahead of the game. There is a nice development process taking place between the Gateway and the Point Sylvan Hotel going up that hill in Calais there.
Yes.
Do you know that road, the rock was actually bridged to pass the main road there because it was hinged going back to Calais?
Yes.
So after when the airport was being built, they cut that main road where Gateway is on one side and then you have SSU on the other side.
Yeah.
But they're doing a road on top there and there's a new development apparently, people are building up there, etc. But the road surface is cliff or dirt as it stands and concrete in some place. But as you drive from the top coming down, on the right side there's a steep drop and there's a bend closer to the Gateway as you head towards the Point Sylvan's heading northeast.
Yes.
But as you come down there, there's a hill and there's a bend. I was driving down there and my vehicle jumped into the ABS because the tension on it, the road surface kicked in. The point I'm making here is that we have to be proactive. While the road is under construction, there should be some temporary guardrail put up there because if that road surface becomes moist, a vehicle would skid off there very easy and head down into that main road, Point Sylvan Road. There could be loss of life. So I'm really making an appeal to the authority to look into this while they are concentrating on establishing the development of there and fixing the road. They are putting lights, etc. That ridge, that area there around that corner, it is an accident waiting to happen. Yeah. People can slide up that road. We are going to get some rain in the next couple of days. We have weathering coming our way. And people will need to use it. There are lots of vehicles traveling back and forth. So I'm really raising it now that it should be given some attention. All
right. So I certainly hope someone in the authority is listening and give that some consideration before something actually happens.
Yeah.
Something happens.
And actually my belly boiled, not because I was scared, but for what can happen to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the concern of it, there are vehicles. My vehicle is a higher vehicle that went up. What about the smaller vehicle that may not have that kind of attraction? Driving up and down that hill, we don't want a loss of life.
All right. Hey, folks, we due for a break. We take it on a break. When we come back, we want to talk about the Maurice Bishop Abbey. It's been an observation of mine, especially driving there at night.
Yes.
Yeah, we want to talk about that. We also have some video we want to show as relation to that also.
The lighting in that area.
Lighting in that area needs to be significantly improved.
Yes. And the overpass, the flyover, is long overdue flyover pass.
I haven't heard anything about it again.
We're going to speak about that. We need to raise it because we don't want another loss of life.
All right.
It pains me.
Hey, folks, we're taking a break. We're coming right back. Stay with us, folks, to the point. And then in this next segment, we also invite, of course, our listeners and viewers to give us a call. I saw the phones been going, but there's always that segment when
we want to get this information and give them the segment.
And then we get this section where we will, of course, invite you to call their calls. We'll be right back after the break, folks. Stay with us.
Mobility.
Raise your hands and say Caribbean.
GBN is your home for this year's Republic Bank CPL. Please note there will be adjustments to a programming lineup on Wednesday, September 25th. Transitions will air at 5:05 p.m., followed by GBN Television News at 6 p.m. And don't miss the news repeat right after the CPL match. Transitions will also be rebroadcast after the news repeat, so you won't miss a thing. GBN, your trusted source for sports coverage anywhere and everywhere.
We'll give the best we've got. Hands up, right up.
This guy was driving way over the speed limit. Look at the damage. This guy was going a lot over the speed limit. Look at the damage. This guy was going a little over the speed limit. Look at the damage.
Welcome back, listeners. Once again, welcome back to your viewers. Good morning, and to those of you via social media platforms. I'm seeing a couple of messages coming via the WhatsApp. I'm certainly going to, of course, mention those. The question or two have been thrown out, or statements that have been made via the WhatsApp. Feel free to do so in this segment if you do have a question or a comment that you'd like to make as relates to our conversation this morning. Feel free to do so. So, back, we wanted to talk about the lighting situation, especially that conversation came up between us as relates to the Maurice Bishop Highway, especially at night.
Yeah.
You understand? The color of the lights and so forth, I think some upgrade is needed. I know we have lost a couple of those poles going down there due to course, the accidents and so forth that may have occurred. But I think something needs to be done in the soonest as it relates to that.
So let me premise again the Maurice Bishop Highway against the loss of lives on that strip. And it hit home to me. I don't want to hit home to anybody else. I don't want us to have another fatality. But we mentioned having an overpass, and as I drive that road every day, I have to live with that, pain on my stomach. As I travel and I see people are waiting to cross the street, and I see the risk associated. Mm-hmm. And I would say to myself, when will that overpass or that flyover be built? There was word that parts of it had already arrived on the island. We've not seen any movement in that direction, and I hope that we can see something very soon. Because, one, we need to have some sidewalks in that area, on the opposite side at least, that people can
We did have someone mention that last week.
Yep.
Last week I called.
And we need to get some movement on the overpass that people can continue. And we need to release police officers and wardens and so on to do more of the work that they should do, enforcement, and allow the system to flow on its own. Yeah. But as we move into the evening and into the night, we set up playing fields and other places where you have lights. You can pick up a pin in some places, and we think in places that carry
we do have some video in relation to that, especially what it looks like at night.
Yes. Look at that. Especially where places that have a certain level of risk, we need to increase the level of lighting there for greater road safety. We could do better than that. Or playing fields and other fields that sometimes they're not well utilized, we can take the same wattage type lights and do our streets, even if we need to do solar energies and enhance them. The color lighting, if you can see the yellow lights, they don't serve our purpose very well.
Yeah.
So we don't need to see another loss of life or some situation that is serious on those roads because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. Right. Lighting is critical, and signage is also a complementary to lighting across country. So it may not just be the Morris Bishop Highway, but there are places we need to spot out, put signs, and put appropriate lighting. It has multiple purposes. It keeps away people who might be criminal or otherwise, and it gives added advantage to road users, pedestrian as well as motorists.
All right. We do have a caller. I think this time we'll invite our callers, 435-2041. If you want to make a contribution towards our program this morning, feel free to do it in this segment. We do have our first caller. Good morning, caller, and you're live.
Yes, good morning, GT. Good morning, Mr. McIntyre. I'm listening to the conversation on our bridges, and something that came to mind is that in our development in the colonial days, Grenada inherited bridges from even the world wars. So those temporary bridges were used to cross places over in the European part of the world to get away from enemies and so. But when they were developing Grenada, no. And that's according to John Rollo's research, because he knows the names of the bridges and so. Because one of them end up in Paradise up there or in the Simon area. But as Mr. McIntyre pointing to, we leave these things until they can go no more. So I just thought I would share that little bit, you know. Sometimes we have very old things, old bridges and so in our development, and we leave them, we get comfortable with them, and then after accidents happen. Yes? Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, caller.
Some of them are actually called Bailey Bridges.
Yeah.
The Bailey Bridge, and then there's another one that they name these bridges that you use for temporary setup.
Okay. Yeah. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Hello, good morning. Good morning to your guests. My
good morning.
Question is, with regard to roads and its safety and its markings and its regulations, who's responsible for that? And has the Roads Act been used over the last 20 years and as of today? I don't know if Mr. McIntyre can give any clarity on that.
Right, thank you so much, caller.
So there are two responsible entities: the police force, law enforcement for enforcing regulations, and you have the Ministry of Works and Transport. They are responsible for enhancement of roads in collaboration with the police.
All right.
And I think now there is should be an established transport board, and they should be looking at traffic engineering,
right,
as well as enhancement of our road surface. But by tradition, the Ministry of Works and Communication, they have sole responsibility. But the police have inherited and taken on some in terms of the road markings. It is an implied no responsibility of the RGPF since they started doing it, but it belongs to the Ministry of Works and Communication. So
right. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, and you're live.
Yeah, President, good morning to you, GT, and good morning to you, Sir Matt. I'll just speak with regards to the wooden bridges. I'm speaking particularly one in Simon. Presently, that bridge seems to be breaking down from the east side coming from Grenville going to the airport, and it appears that the trucks, the heavy SL trucks, are the ones solely responsible for breaking down that bridge.
All right, thank you, caller. Thank you so much. We have one caller there.
Yeah.
All right, we do have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're live.
Yes, Mr. Sylvan.
Good morning. Yes, caller, go right ahead, please.
I need to speak to you, and I want to speak to you real serious. You had an accident by the gas station in Grenville with a bus, and
caller, you may need to turn your radio or whatever device you have on in the background. It's causing a little bit of distraction for you.
All right.
Sort that out, and you could probably give us a call back. Let's take another caller via the WhatsApp. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Telesford, and to your guests. Always a pleasure to hear Mr. Sylvan. Yes, I was delighted to hear that high school, and it's because of safety. I'm bringing it up here. Has a strict policy against bringing cell phones in school, Anakin High School in Tantine, and it's for the best interest for the children.
You know that WhatsApp disconnection always happen there from time to time. I apologize for that, but it's definitely.
But we got to aspect of the point.
We get the point that the caller was making.
Yes.
Caller, good morning. You're live.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Mr. Mark, morning, everybody. Grenada. Yes, that topic on the bridge, that look as my topic this morning. Because I was saying last week, concerning those big truck and them that passing on the Paradise Bridge. You understand? Because if that bridge breaks, truck cannot pass on Granba Bridge because you have a big hole in that bridge. The fire truck cannot pass Granba Bridge, it cannot pass Marylebone Bridge because they too narrow and the canal them too sharp. So I wish the government could listen to this program, who in charge, and see what we could do with those bridges. And I tell the people, if the government will decide to fix bridge and build bridge, vote for Susan next election, she going to build some bridge. Only bridge alone are building. So people vote for Susan next election, we're going to build some bridge. Have a good day, my brother.
Thank you so much, caller.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Caller via WhatsApp.
She made the point in a way.
Yeah, she made her point. Caller, good morning via WhatsApp. Go right ahead, please.
Morning, Mr. McIntyre, and morning to the host. Mr. McIntyre, what are observing, Grenada? Since Columbus and these men build roads, we're not thinking about widening roads. It's time that a program should come up where you sensitize the public, people through the Ministry of Planning, that people living on the main road. I see people expanding more and more and more on the road. And a lot of these corners where you could just cut right through, move people.
Get your point, caller. Usual happenings with WhatsApp there. And
the enforcement in terms of who should enforce what, and he's on point in terms of developmental processes where people encroach. And actually, there's an aspect of the law, and somebody from one of those ministries could speak about it, that the government does have leverage regardless of where a road is. I think they have about 10 feet on either side that they can actually use for development. But we're not seeing that. I'm subject to correction, but the authority, the state mechanism, do have a leeway in terms of either side of any road to do expansion. But as development take place along, we're not seeing this in really being adhered to. But it's something I need to look into. It's not a matter of acquisition of stuff, but I think it is enshrined that there's this flexibility that is left for development from the state mechanism.
Okay. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Yes, Mr. Telesford, greetings, good morning, and greetings to Mr. McIntyre. Just a brief comment on the issue related to the Bailey Bridges, truss bridges or panel bridges as they're called, designed in 1940, 1941 by an Englishman and used during the Second World War. These bridges are not necessarily temporary bridges. They are used for temporary purposes when it's just, to cross a place or something. But they can be permanent. They last generations. As a matter of fact, in Europe, many of these bridges laid down during the Second World War still exist and maintains. Each segment of each one of these bridges can be changed, replaced like you change a clutch on a car or the brakes bad, because they're all built to one basic standard. So whether it is fabricated in Australia or in the United Kingdom or in the United States, where there are 108 companies that produce these bridges, you can get the parts and repair them. We allow things to fall apart. We allow them to fall apart. I understand that they do not use the proper wood, for instance, on the surface, the wheel parts. They put whatever wood there you can't. You need to put the correct hardwood that would give you safe conditions for driving. These bridges have to be cleaned, they're chipped, painted, where pins are worn and so on. They need to be. We need to enhance our quality of maintenance on our infrastructure. This is where the failure is. I don't want to go on and criticize the people, but in this Ministry of Works and that's a waste of time and wasting the people's money. Finally, Mr. McIntyre, I understand you're looking at bridges. But just to round up, I want to inform you of this, because it seems that in certain cases they listen to you. When I say they, I refer to the authorities, quote unquote. There's a bridge in Wester Hall at the entrance of Lacalome there, just between the Lacalome entrance and Rigid Panel, what we know as the Rigid Panel building. Now, this bridge has no rail. I'm a person with visual impairment, but I have capacity to move around, and I have to go to the medical station, etc., from time to time. That bridge doesn't have a rail, so I neither, therefore, can I walk on the sidewalk built onto that bridge. But my dear brother, I'd like you to go there and take a look and take a picture. 4 feet within on the road from the inner edge or the inner curb of the sidewalk on that bridge. And I refer to the one to the north. 4 feet. And I measured because I use my cane, which is 52 inches. Rubble of all types, cardboard boxes, tins, earth, dust, shrubs, what have you. Which means people like me have to walk in the road to get along my business. But I have to walk because I need to walk between the pavement and the obstruction to the side, whether it be the verge or a wall. I'd like you to take a look at it and put it on the radio, on the television station. Let them see, let the people see the problem that people like me suffer for my right to accessibility and mobility in this here country. And I call upon the state of Grenada, the so-called state of Grenada, to do what I expect to do, so to facilitate the rights of people with disabilities to accessibility. Thank you very much for what it's worth, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir. Have a great morning yourself. Great contribution as always. Yes. Let's call via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. Good morning. Sorry for calling back. Mr. Rollo is certainly right. Maintenance of those bridges are critical. The Bailey bridges can take a whole tank passing on it. However, I want to direct Mr. McIntyre's attention and to the Grenadian public attention to Chapter 290, the Roads Act. And that act is 34 of 64, 25 of 65, 31 of 73, 32 of 73, 4 of 86, and number 1 of 1994. That we need to utilize it. And Mr. McIntyre, you should be on the board. There should be a board responsible for our roads and lots of the things that you're talking about. So if you could look at the act and please help the Grenadian public to understand so that some fire would be pushed under the people within the Ministry of Communication and Works and the Minister to have that implemented to improve road safety in Grenada. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Appreciate your contribution. Great point today. Caller, good morning. You're live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, caller, go right ahead, please. You're live.
I want to tell ask Mr. McIntyre that question. Mr. McIntyre, last week Thursday, by Grenville gas station, he had a truck actually running to a bus with school children. And that is real stupid. The driver have the bus or the truck, the bus, and 2-wheel with all the school children in it. The driver of the bus standing up to take the responsibility. Truck driver don't want to stand up. Why is the reason of that?
Okay, caller, do you get the drift of the contribution?
She's indicating what I'd get a drift that somebody's not taking responsibility for the safety of the passengers and people around them.
Yeah.
So it is a personal thing, and the police will have to be able to follow through the investigation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we just have about 3 more minutes left on the program. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, and you're welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
We're talking road markings. Good morning.
Yes, caller, we're hearing you loud and clear. Go right ahead, please.
Right. We're talking about road marking on roads. Springs Calivini main road from Paddock, at the junction at Paddock. There used to be a marking there to indicate for the motorists coming from Springs to stop at that intersection. Right? So vehicles turning right into Belmont have the right of way. But no, there isn't any marking there. And so vehicles coming from Springs, man, they're just bolting across that road. And one of these days, they're going to have a serious accident. Why isn't the marking there? Can you do something about it, please?
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
And the caller has just done something about it. Raise the issue. And we're going to raise the issue, and the authority would get the information. I think what happened generally, people renege on their responsibility. They do not do what they're supposed to do. And they follow through. We're lacking a lot of these in Grenada where projects and things that are supposed to be done, there isn't a lot of follow-up. And what we find, because there's not a follow-up, people are not held responsible and liable for things that they're supposed to do within the area of responsibility. If we're seeing much more of that, I think we're going to see more compliance. We're going to increase the safety for road users, whether it's a motorist or a pedestrian generally. But the issue that we raise in terms of road safety today, we really hope that it will take the traction. We've seen some very visible results of some of the information that we're putting across. But this morning was very serious. We speak about lightings and road markings, directions and so forth, and rails in some areas, particularly in the Calais area that we spoke about, and our bridges that people contributed greatly towards. They need to be re-inspected, and as one of the callers said, the whole maintenance process need to be revamped.
Improved on a lot. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Morning to you, sir. How are you doing this morning?
We're doing pretty well. Let's hear your contribution, please.
All right. Pertaining to the markings in the road, the guy that spoke about the markings in the road, he's right, because people flying from Springs straight into Paddock, and I think they should indicate or there's a stop sign saying stop and let the other person go. The other one, I'm into tourism, and a lot of like tourists come here, rent cars, and they cannot find their way because there's no markings, no street markings, no sign saying this is where you are, this is where you're supposed to pass to go, and things like that. Okay?
All right. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution.
I would like to support the caller in terms of there need to be more markings, but we have to be fair to the system and give credit where credit is due. We've come a long way in terms of markings.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot more street signs. We've seen community signs and so forth. Although the size of the font need to be increased in a lot of ways so that people they need to be placed more appropriately. In some places they are overdone, and some places they're not done at all. But yes, there has been some effort in terms of putting some signs across, but they definitely need a lot more. Particularly, in particular, people who are not used to an area, not just tourists. A lot of us who don't know parts of the island.
Yeah.
And when you move around, you said, but you know there's a place called Tukongo? Really? And there's a place called Bakwata? And there's a place called Baho?
You hear the name, but then sometimes you're in the actual area and you not know that you're actually there. Right?
The other thing that we have to be mindful of in terms of markings and signs, we are inheriting some names of places across the world that do have negative meanings with them, and we are putting them, and people are, rather than having the things that could be more generic to us, give some kind of nostalgic feeling to us or otherwise, family or history and so forth, we inherit places that have some negative meaning. We have the Baghdad, we have the Beirut, we have the Saigon, we have the Brooklyn, we have the Bronx, and these names that are creeping into our society that is giving a different kind of a meaning to our own culture, and we have to look at that and mind it.
Understandably so. I have someone to say, Mr. Mac, via the WhatsApp, they're saying they're in full support of Mr. Mac that the authorities should take this seriously about the Park Creek River Bridge and the Blondo Bridge, and the curve further up needs some urgent attention. Someone is saying they're giving you some credit for, of course, speaking in relation to that.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mackin, we'll be able to take a wrap for today. Interesting program as always. I want to thank all who contributed towards today's program. Join us again next week when we certainly be able to probably bring some more videos and pictures of maybe things that have done because of our program.
Yes.
Especially from the authorities, and things that may certainly need to be worked on more.
And I would advise, let me say, to people who have issues out there that you find, I don't always get a chance to go around the country, as I would love to. You can take videos and pictures of issues and you can send them directly to me, and we can raise them. Because people often look for an avenue and a voice. You have one now. The I'm Safer, the Asher McIntyre Safety Foundation for Road, will be a voice, will be a forum for airing the issues for the improvement of safety in Grenada.
All right. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point for today, Monday, the 23rd of September. Join us again tomorrow for another edition. That's where we say goodbye and have a great day to all.